Welcome to episode 635 of Salsidoparanormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I'm sharing true paranormal stories from the web. As always, you can find all episodes of the show along with links to social media and other ways to contact me at the podcast page, and that is salsidoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions or accounts of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. Thank you all for listening, whether you are here for the live streams on Discord or if you listen to the podcast or YouTube feeds or on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. There you can hear replays of 2 episodes of my show every night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right before Troubled Minds Radio comes on. And as always, I want to thank Michael Strange, host of Troubled Minds Radio, for having me on the network and putting all my shows up there. If you'd like to support my show, there are some different ways to do that. You can always share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. You can find books I've written, paranormal fiction and nonfiction, over on Amazon, including my most recent book that is connected to the podcast, Salsido Paranormal Experiences. You can sign up for the Patreon page and get 2 extra episodes of true paranormal stories from the web every week, whenever possible. Or you can just make one-time donations through PayPal. Support is never expected, but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows, from equipment to research materials to travel expenses in some cases. Again, a reminder, I will not be recording on the weekend of August 30th and 31st due to a carnival happening behind my apartment. So it's going to make that kind of hard to record with all the sound coming from there. And so I don't like to miss shows, but that's not much I can do. Nothing I can do about that. So just want to mention that again because I've been trying to do that this week. But I think with all that done, we can get right to the true paranormal stories from the web here. So let me get back to my document here and get started. This first one says, I was 7 or 8 years old at the time when this happened. I used to sleep with my feet facing the wall. That night, there was a heavy rain and thunder outside. The thunder was so loud that I felt the vibrations through the walls. Although I am usually a deep sleeper, I woke up slightly due to the noise. I was facing the window when I opened my eyes. It was pitch black outside. The window had blinds and a screen. Suddenly there was a crack of thunder and lightning. In the brief flash of light, I saw a dark silhouette at the window. The figure had 2 hands gripping the window ledge. The head appeared to be a half-circle shape. Instead of eyes, there were 2 faint white oval-shaped cutouts in the dark shadow. I quickly hid under my blanket. After a few minutes, I looked again, but saw nothing. The next morning, I investigated the area outside my window. I discovered there was no ledge to grip onto. The window was approximately 10 feet high. I still don't know why anything would have tried to look through that window, since it had a dirty screen and blinds and a curtain covering it. This happened in Hawaii. My family home, was an older plantation style house. Excuse me. Raised on stilts to prevent flooding. All of the bedroom windows were high up, except for the kitchen area in the front. I have only shared this experience with a few people. I still think about this occasionally, and I don't think I will ever forget it. And that's where that one ends. That seeing that figure at that window, it takes on a whole other level when you realize when they write there that it's 10 feet tall. That basically the the window, you have to be 10 feet tall to get up to the window. I don't even know what that would be. Something that could fly or float, or even more unusual, something that was that tall. Yeah. I was mentioning of the carnival in the chat, and in the chat there, Ricky says that would be cool sounding though, like having a party for the paranormal. Yeah, you'd hear lots of screams. It'd be somewhat fitting in that way. And it's just very hard to focus on much of anything with all that screaming, because I can hear all the rides and all the screams from the rides. So and the shouting. So yeah, I it's okay one night, but 3 nights after 3 nights it gets a bit old. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know what that was that person saw. I feel like I may need to do a whole. Well, we'll be getting to Hawaii eventually in the Haunted Places in the U.S. series. So I was gonna say I feel like I need to do a whole show on Hawaii, but we'll be getting to that state in the U.S. as it is now anyway. It has been for a while, but I mean, as it is, at some point in that series. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing what comes up with that as far as well-known places of interest in terms of the paranormal. But definitely plenty of experiences that people have over there. So I wonder if the eyes were really cutouts or if they were just ovals, white ovals of light that sort of resembled cutouts, or what that was. I'm just curious about that aspect of the sighting. But yeah, so that's a neat one there. And again, 10 feet off the ground, that thing was either flying or it was just extremely tall. I don't know. So, and it's sort of your stereotypical horror movie trope in a way as well, where you don't see anything at first because it's dark, and then the lightning flashes, and you see something, and then it's gone after a little while. So anyway, let's see here. So let me get to the next one here. Thank you all for being here. I see you all there in the chat, and appreciate it. Let me get to the next one. This one says, I was in the Army over a decade ago. Stationed, oh wow, this is funny. Didn't plan this. Stationed in Hawaii for most of my service, except for a year-long deployment to Iraq. Just, I mean, obviously, people would say that I could say this and either be lying or not, or misremembering, but I do not put these in any kind of order. I put them into the file as I find them. So here we have another story from Hawaii. So I do this. I find these stories, and then I usually don't get to them in the shows for at least a week, maybe 2 weeks. So I forget exactly. I forget a lot of the details until I reread them again. So yeah, the surprise that you heard there is genuine. So let me see here. So back to this story here. Occasionally, soldiers had to perform battalion staff duty. This involved a few things. sitting at a desk in the battalion headquarters for 24 hours with one other person, answering phone calls during the night from Red Cross messages or local police calls, maybe 2 local police calls, raising the flag in the morning and saluting officers entering the building. There weren't, though we weren't supposed to use. Oh wait, I think I missed the line. There we go. The battalion headquarters was a 2-story building with an elevator, though we weren't supposed to use it. I was told it was there mainly for legal and safety reasons. Soldiers were instructed to use the stairs. Near the elevator was a memorial for about 10 unit members killed in action in Iraq. During night shifts, the other soldier and I had a weird experience at times. The elevator would go up by itself in the middle of the night, and footsteps could be heard on the second floor. This happened despite only 2 people being in the building, both on the ground floor. I often went up to investigate, but never found anyone on the second floor after these incidents. And that's where that one ends. Elevators. I did a whole show on elevators and weirdness around elevators. The most common weirdness seems to be that they will operate on their own or appear to operate on their own. The idea is that there's someone operating them that you don't see or can't see. But yeah, that's a neat one there. The elevator and the footsteps, and I mean the elevator is such a major part of sort of paranormal lore now that it's used in movies and all those in books and all those kinds of things. Any kind of place that's said to be haunted, the elevator is going to be usually in a movie anyway or TV show. The elevator will be going. So, but yeah, moving on to the next one here. Let's see. All right. This one says, I was sitting on my sofa after dinner when I saw a human-like figure out of the corner of my eyes. It was a bright yellow beam, about 7 feet tall. It walked across the living room and out the door. I only saw it for about 3 seconds, but it was clearer than any other similar figure I had seen before. I checked but found nothing there. I live alone. Friends have suggested that the house might be haunted as well. Other strange things have happened in the house, and more than once. My friends and I have heard sounds of people walking upstairs when everyone is downstairs. Objects frequently go missing and reappear days later in odd places. A childhood teddy bear that I still keep for sentimental reasons vanished from its usual spot on my bed. I looked everywhere for it, but wasn't able to find it. It reappeared on the bed about a week later. I am not a strong believer in the paranormal. However, I am sure that I saw something or someone during this latest incident with the figure of yellow light. So what do you all think about these experiences? And forgive the sounds as Logan rushes around the apartment. That's my cat, as I always say. That's a lot going on there in that location. The footsteps, and then multiple people experiencing it too, which is good in a way because it's confirmation. I never really heard of yeah, hello Logan. Never really heard of a yellow figure before. I've heard of figures of light, but usually that's all you hear, and so it's sort of, I think, inferred that it's usually like a figure of white light, or sometimes even blue. Of course, there's figures of blue light as well. Yellow is a little bit different. Haven't heard that one before, I don't think. But then again, you have all the objects vanishing and reappearing. With that, I always wonder if there isn't some kind of, at least these days, if there isn't some kind of a time anomaly going on there where, for whatever reason, at some point, whether it's in the past or the future, it's the person that moved the object for a reason they had there at the time, but they somehow moved it, and there was some kind of a time overlap, and so they have no idea because it wasn't the present version of them moving the object. That's just a sort of a theory at this point, but and I mean the other option is just other anomalies with time and space, and then of course the one that horror movies would probably go to, or TV shows would go to, is some being moving things around to mess with the individual or the people there at the location. So all those are possible, but I don't know. But yeah, sounds like a lot going on there at that house. So let's see here, and reminds me of my place. Every once in a while, there'll be a few things that happen here and there, and then it'll be quiet for a while, and then there goes Logan knocking something over. Wonderful. Anyway, so yeah, looking at the chat here, Ricky says yellow orbs representing creativity, joy, and the presence of helpful spirits. Interesting. Yeah, the orb thing is really weird, because not that I'm doubting what you're saying there, Ricky, or the source you have there, but the orb thing, there seems to be, the meanings seem to be different depending on which websites you go to. Wow. Okay. Anyway, I will check on that during the break here. But so I don't know, which groups are right, or which people are right, which people are wrong. I wonder how all that is figured out. But yeah, no, I appreciate that, Ricky. Thank you for sharing that link in the chat there. Just talking about the meanings of these things. Yeah, I don't think Logan needs to be possessed to cause chaos. She's perfectly capable and willing to do that on her own. She just has interesting timing when she does it sometimes. So, but yeah. Anyway, let's get through at least one more story here before the episode is over, because I hate to just yeah, no cat does, yeah. I hate to just for anyone that's not into cats, I hate to fill the whole, or not the whole show, but part of the show with talk of complaints of my cat. So, but anyway, this next one says, when I was young, once every few nights, I'd wake up to find someone in my room, sitting on the edge of my bed. Sometimes the figure would place his hand on my back, but I was never afraid. The figure never caused harm to me. It was a man dressed like someone from an old Western movie. He wore a wide-brimmed hat and a trench coat. I have heard of something called the Hat Man, but everything I've found about them says it's a shadow person. Unlike typical Hat Man encounters, this figure interacted with me. I never felt frightened by the figure's presence. The visitor always woke me when the figure sat on the bed, causing it to move. Has anyone else had similar experiences? And that's where that one ends. We might get through two more here. And it sounds like possibly some kind of either sympathetic or protective, possibly spirit or being. I don't know for sure with that, but it wouldn't surprise me. Seems like protective beings could have any form they want, or that they were in. Maybe if they sort of they were a living person beforehand, and then they either were given or took on that role. But yeah, I don't know. So let's see here. So yeah, I don't know with that one. I'm just glad that nothing really happened with them, other than just seeing and feeling that figure from time to time. Let's get to one more here, and this one says, "I was around 7 years old when this happened. My family and I lived in a house where various odd things happened. The strangest experience I had was there was when I saw the Hat Man. Again, these similarities, it's amazing how that happens. Excuse me. It was late at night, and I was sleeping in my parents' bedroom. I slept on a mini couch/bed near the doorway with the hallway light on. Suddenly, I felt compelled to get up, and I saw a man standing in the doorway. The man was wearing a suit and a hat. He appeared completely gray and resembled a figure from an old black and white movie. Despite the hallway light being on, the man's face was not visible. I screamed, waking up my parents. They also saw the man. My father, terrified, shut the door, grabbed a bat, baseball bat, I'm guessing, and searched the house, but found no one. After moving out, I heard that another little girl had a similar experience in the same house. As an adult, I learned about other stories of the Hat Man, often seen in hospitals before someone passes away, and of course in scary TV shows. I am curious about the origins of the Hat Man and wonder if others have had similar experiences or knew more about the subject. And that's where that one ends. Yeah, that's amazing that the parents saw the figure as well. So often when there's any kind of reaction from the first person that sees anything, the figure is gone before anyone else can see it. So yeah, maybe someone in the family, I don't know. It is amazing though that there was another person that was staying in the house after another. I'm guessing another family that had a little girl that also saw this figure. So I don't know if it was tied to the first family and just stayed there for whatever reason. Maybe it was tied more to the location. I have no idea. But I have heard of gray figures, almost like shadow figures, but they're gray and more gray instead of black. I've heard that in a few more rare cases. I've heard of that. Excuse me. So, yeah, tied to the house. Yeah, that's possible. Or at least the land, anyway, the area, the location itself, not so much the people. And those are always amazing when you get that confirmation from people that you don't really know directly. So that there's stuff going on there. But anyway, that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you all for listening. And I will talk to you all on the next episode of Salsidoparanormal. Take care.